All right, so let's go ahead and get into day two. Day two, Tuesday, is our acceleration day. So if you watched part one, you'll have seen that our Monday was our lower body focus day. And although the lower body was, you could say, taxed maybe on that day, when we're looking at this high-low system, right, we're talking about neural stress. So it is much harder to perform when you are under a large amount of neural stress, in my opinion, compared to tissue level stress. A lot of those, the tightness, the kind of burn and sore feeling we feel in our muscles usually goes away after a good warm-up, right? And so in this program, I felt really good about putting the acceleration day here because it's shorter sprints, right? The distance is going to be shorter than if we were doing a top end or max velocity type of day, but it's still going to be taxing, right? So in the warm-up, right, you can see over here, it's primarily low. Most of our warm-up stuff is going to be low, right? That's just how it is. We worked a light tier series, so essentially these are those sort of quick, reactive, light on your feet type of jump or plyometric exercises where the goal is not distance or height. Rather, the goal is position, awareness, reactivity, quickness, and attacking the ground on those. Would mix those in with some types of skips. Sometimes they were power skips for height. Sometimes they were skip buildups. So just like a sprint buildup would be, except you are skipping, right? I actually really liked incorporating the skip buildup. I can't remember who it's actually from, but I heard it from one of my assistant S&C guys, Anthony Adams, and started incorporating it into my sprint days, and I loved it. Sometimes I would mix in technique work, so A skips, B skips, C skips, any kind of marches, right? Like sometimes I throw that in there, not all the time though. And then tissue prep is just kind of a catch-all for any type of stretching that I may have mixed into this, right? Whether it be hamstring scoops. Primarily what I did every single day for this was at least I would do some hand supported kicks. So I would kick up really high, cross over, and then I'd kick that leg back and open up. So did a lot of those as the tissue prep. And so this was kind of, these two right here were kind of just if I felt like I needed it after I finished the light tier series and the skips that I did. You'll see that compared to our Monday, there is a much bigger block of high CNS work going on, and this is the jumping and sprinting on today. So starting off with some jumps in the pink tier series. Again, a reminder, I am using McInnes-Watson's plus plyos terminology here, something we glommed onto later in the spring here at PLU. The thing about the pink tier series that I really enjoyed is there was always at least one new jump to try. And that was really fun to have just a little bit of a challenge and sort of something to keep the rest of the day fresh because a lot of the speed and conditioning work was very methodical and programmed out. So it was cool to have some variety in those jumps. Again, pink tier, we are trying to go for distance, trying to go for height. We are putting a lot of intent into the ground. These would be considered intensive jumps. If you're not understanding any of that terminology I'm laying out, go and watch the high-low video, the conceptual video that I posted. I believe the first week was like 6 by 20 yards, so just something to establish sort of a base of work capacity. And as the month went on, we increased the distance of the buildups, but decreased the set and reps of those buildups, right? Another thing that I liked about the buildups is I programmed them to be variable types of buildups. So sometimes I would do a straight on buildup, sometimes I would do a crossover run buildup, and everything in between, right? Moving on to the actual sprint work, we started with variable 5 to 10 yard sprints and eventually made our way to 10 to 20 yard sprints. And the same concept for the variable starts as our buildups, trying to start in multiple different positions and just add some just randomness and variety because at the end of the day, it's a lot more fun to do it that way than it is to just, okay, foot on the line, hand on the line, let's go. For me, because I have access to technology, I would usually try to fit 2 to 3 of those variable sprints. I would make them a dasher sprint. So I considered the timing aspect of the sprint to be one of the variety sprints that I could do. After all that stuff, moved into our conditioning. You'll see the conditioning today is low. This is our more aerobic endurance type of conditioning. And for me, I mixed the volleyball and football type of conditioning. So volleyball has a bike interval. I believe it was a fartlek, 2 minutes on at about 60%, 2 minutes off at about 30%. rounds increasing over the month. And then tempo runs is the same thing. The way I like to program tempo runs is if I have a certain amount of yardage that I want them to achieve, start at half of that and then slowly build up until they get to that goal yardage that you have. So some days I would do the bike interval, some days I would do the tempo runs. I actually started doing the bike intervals on Friday after the total body lift, and kept the tempo runs on Tuesday as my conditioning, just because I don't have access to a bike where I'm doing my sprints. So it still allows me to get touches at both of those things. And I am somebody who needs to work on their aerobic endurance. So in 2 of those types of conditioning in a week is just fine. But again, that was Tuesday, and I really liked how Monday and Tuesday worked, because yes, it's 2 sort of lower body focused days in a row, but the work on Monday never interfered with my ability to PR or to feel like I could push myself hard in these Tuesday accelerations. And what it also allowed me to do was take Wednesday and make that an upper body day and a lower body restorative day to prep us for Thursday when we do our top end sprint. So as you go through the parts of these videos, some of it might not make sense until the rest of the week is laid out. But just from my own personal experience running the program, I always felt like I could give my all during this day. And needless to say, by the time I hit Wednesday, legs were a little cooked and we needed some of those ISOs and we needed to take a break from lower body work and hit our upper body stuff. So that's Tuesday.